welcome to Top 10 Script of Spooky Monster Tales that make you piss at night. This video is sure to make you freak out, maybe even let a shriek out. Only time will tell. My name is Scary Peter, but you can call me Scary Pete. I found you and I followed you in this forest because today I will be guiding you through a world of scary creatures and shrieks, cryptids and freaks. Before we venture into our journey of scary though, I must warn you now, viewer beware, you are in for a scare.
Psycho Michael. It was a dark and glooming autumn night when all throughout the bog, 4 bitty baby screams could be heard. My youngling childrens who have died on that day. The one responsible? Psycho Michael. I know this because I peeped upon his baby bashing antics with my long and cool space stethoscope. I had bought it just the month before, so that I could view the stars I choose. Little did I know that it would be my lens into a dark and winding and scary path, where all my babies die and I watch and scream in horror, and Psycho Michael felt no remorse when he did it. Why did he do it? Because he's psycho. How did he do it? Big magic staff hammer torture device. How did I know his name was Michael? He had a big M on his belt that likely stood for Michael. Anyway, after my peep sesh, I stumbled back from the gory glory of what I had just bore witness. I was in shock and awe, and most of all, terror. I reached out my stretchy and muscular arms to the sky and screamed to the heavens above. No! Why? God did not answer. I did not have much time to lament because it was already 10 o'clock p.m. at night, and I had early work the next day at my job at the slop factory. So, rather than waste my breath with pointless misery, I hobbled into bed and caught up on my Zeds. When I snore, I go honk me 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 with it. This is relevant to the story because you will not believe what happens to me 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 next. I had awoken and driven to the slop factory, ready to start my shift. I was messing with the slop mixer when the brown goo turned a dark shade of cream crimson. This happened because I was going crazy because of what I had witnessed, and it made me think briefly that the slop might be blood, or might be slopped with blood, or might have been blood all along, maybe even. This frightened me, so I shrieked aloud. Co-worker Jerry and co-worker Tommy approached me and said, "You are scary and crazy and you killed all your baby last night," they taunted. More joined in until I was surrounded by a ring of mean jerks who all tell me I am crazy and kill babies. I pondered silently for a moment as they jeered before I came up with a plan. I would say, "Aga Bobo," really loud, and scare them all away. I summoned my strength for a scream and got out the Aga Bobo before Jerry and Tommy and everyone else in the slop factory punched me in my face all at once, and I got knocked out for 3 whole days. I woke up in a white room with white squares, and there was a rat, too. I was gone crazy to most, but I know deep, deep down that I'm always sane. Cursing at psychotic Michelangelo, I turned to the rat for guidance. Rat glared down upon me with his hyper-realistic eyes, and he speaks. Fret not, my child. Your baby might be gone, but your legacy lives on. You have a whole life of opportunity waiting ahead. Seize the moment. Seize the now. Just like how cheese is the envy of all the rats, now is the envy of all the dead. Live your life, my boy. Be free from this pale imprisonment. As he spoke his last, the white squares of the room fell away, one at a time, and then all at once. Behind them, a dark void. The dark void gave way, and I found myself upon the doorstep upon my home. My lovely wife in tears, but I cared not. My grieving family could wait, for this was a moment of joy. I inhaled sharply, deeply, very much so, and output the loudest yippee I could muster. My baby's slain, but I could maybe care less. My life had just begun. I twirled my car keys awesomely in hand and put on my sunglasses, but then lowered them slightly to prove I was really cool. Stepping in the car, I knew what must be done next. Back to the slop factory. Back to the grind. Everything after would work itself out.
That guy sounds off his rockers. Good thing he's not real, right? If that wasn't enough to boil your britches and torsion your tethers, then hold on to your corns. Here comes Moors.
Creature of the Mist. Editor's note. This story is not an allegory for circumcision. All perceived relation is unrelated. Anyways, I was slumping through the mystic mire on one of my weekly slog runs when I encountered a mesmerizing mist amongst the withered woods. Within the mist lie a freaky figure, and within that creature lie ill intentions. I gaped upon both, in awe and terror, and sheer bewilderment, and tired from my slug run. In a desperate effort to not become prey, I became predator. I jolted and bolted to my orange-colored Lamborghini Aventador 2012 model make, and stumbled for the glove box, or as I like to call it, my Glock box. I call it this because it is where I keep my Glock, which I plan to use to shoot this evilish, devilish being to Kingdom Come. In a spur of action, the mist creature summoned a tree-like entity before me that I swear was not there before. And so the crash that ensued was not my fault. It is bullshit that this caused my insurance rates to go up, because I am simply a victim of circumstance. But whatever. In my pain and misery of car crash experience, I slowly realized something. It was all a dream. Tomorrow would be my real slug run, and there would be no cryptid creature. I felt a sort of inner peace of sorts, everything would work itself out. I lit all 38 of my ambient room candles and decadently dozed into a significant slumber. I forgot to mention that I live next to the mystic mire, and that had frightened me so. I only remember to include this detail now because of the unfolding sequence of events that makes up this story next. Okay. Anyway, so as I sleep, this oblique creature returns with an angered wrath, which would rival that of the Joker from Batman if he were real. With a gas tank in hand, and it is full of gas, he stumbled towards my window sill hauntingly. He creeped slowly, but he moved with a magnificent purpose. The purpose of which to burn my freaking house down. I forgot to mention that he also had a lighter in his hand. His other hand. I remember this now because he needed it to start a fire. Also, I was still sleeping. When I woke up in the morning, I did not wake up to the anticipated slug run that I had foretold of. No! Instead, I woke up to fire and flames. The stench of death surrounded me, and the creepy critter stood before me. His ghoulish frame now expanded to reveal a horrifying sight. For me to describe the sight unto you would perhaps freak you out and give you nightmares for sure. Maybe even drive you to the brink of madness. So instead, all I will include is a one-to-one picture recreation of this freaky phantasm. And I will tell you this, there was a skeleton. This X-ray has been included as evidence.
Wow, and I hear that one is real shit, yo bricks yet? Let me know when you do. Someone will need to collect them. This next one is especially scary. So don't just sit there unless you can really handle it. I've seen terrible and spontaneous fates befall those who get creeped by the Pete.
Big frog. I met a frog one day. My life don't guide me many psychocalyptically true places, but when the frog tippingly plopped into my celestially predestined path I walked prior, I knew my Pontius Poil was about to be flipped right side down. It was the gloomiest night on the Pontar when the frog sized of extra made gloomy plume as he emerged from the goop. He looked at me, not to eat, but to teach. I was deep in the peaks, searching for soul of mine, when this nuclear nympho frog hoppled onto my strife, striking me as a well-timed slime pipe sling into a fly ready to imbibe. A cloaking cover of foggy, froggy moisture enveloped the two of us. He extended his hoggling hose to me much like I was the fly to be eaten, but today I was the pupillus to be teached. He came deep into my mind's eye and directly deposited tidings of being of imposition and wisdom right to pop. The world is not about the world. I am the inhibition that lives in my mind. By the fly I harvest in reel and let into the rind. I do not exist for the world, but relent myself to the bog so I may decisively deign my dermoil rotted in the slough forevermore. Forevermore, I trip on my way to my riches. I jump, frog teaches me. Riches on my path when jump I and I get riches then. A perfect path misered by the frog of my desires. The amphibulus of my destinies. Tonight, the meaning of my gumption peeped me deep. I was mentally enlightened from this day forth. I would never ponder like Briar. He retracts, having sogged me, as sogged as I could surrender. Twisted treely tentacles twist far above me as I lay racked from wisdom's whimpering whisplers. A knowledge is unknown to monculus type life types is known to me. I writhe and wriggle as frogfoot jiggle, jump and returning to frog bog she yearning a returning to swamp that glorious glomp never to be spotted ever again, ever. I spill this to you now so you know how cool I am, how enlightened and dateable and hot I am. I return to nature's nurture, a Nepo baby of the world, a Huncules and Hercules with a mind swelled with smart. I will leave you now with nothing to give. The toad has chose. You are not meant to know truly how this life flows. This frog is to scale. It was really big.
Not completely creeped? What gives? Ears full of stones and rocks or something? Listen up. Because I'll tell a tale so twisted it sends shivers down your shitter for good and keep you creeped for life.
Viewer! Once upon a time, I was scribbling dribble upon my notebook, when my cursed hand mimicked ancient symbology, per happen chance. Then Blair was summoned, and he was evil.
Whoa, that story really gripped my goils. I did warn you it would be a bumpy ride. Oh, you want another? Sure, if you say so, but don't run screaming and crying and creaming about it.
One small squirm for worm. One day I was digging a big hole in my yard for big fence posts to sit. I do this every day because my neighbor likes to steal my every fence bit by bit. This was unlike any other day because after I had finished digging the hole with big impressive dirt power tool, a bigger than average worm came from within. He was larger than largest average worm and was hence hugest worm. Ever read the book Dune? One with worm? Imagine how ludicrously large this lummox-like larvae looked in my own backyard. He sprung from the soil without warning and perched himself on my shoulder upon. I was not having this, so I took him by his pretentious louse posterior and swings him in big circles like Mario does to gay Bowser. I did this until this voracious limpid insectoid from below reached terminal velocity. I released him flying and flinging straight into the sky where he went all the way to space and into the sun above. I assumed this because I did not dare peep after my release. After all, I have a fence to erect. I hear a splatitude and a very girly man scream soon after, probably because he had never seen world's biggest worm engulfed into the gas and flame of our most precious celestial body.
These stories are too scary! I'm too scared of these stories! I feel something inside me! Something is rumbling and grumbling inside me! The scary stories must have given me life! I will raise a beautiful cryptid son as my own!
Ooh, that's gotta hurt. You may have been caught in the blast, but safety comes on Tuesday. Click my like and subscribe and my comment button, and you will be saved from this nuclear blast explosion this Tuesday, this Halloween. Okay. Thank you for watching my video. This one actually took 7 long years to make because it was quite time consuming, based on the fact that it can be very hard sometimes to find these entities. Believe it or not, this was supposed to be our first video. Unfortunately, it took very long, even then. And 2 years into its production, I saw a particularly inspiring bug. But we'll leave the finer details for our top facts video someday. Here we are now with all of our Bugs Bibles, Cryptid's catalog, and much more to come. Make sure to like and subscribe if you wish to follow our journey from rags to riches and swag and bitches. You can also leave a comment if you want. The part 2 to the cowboy video is coming next Tuesday, so stay tuned. Bye bye.